Hi, I'm Alois Bunjira and you're listening to the ZiFM Sport Podcast.
Zimbabwe's finest radio. ZiFM Stereo.
It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted!
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in! And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes.
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they've come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
It's a very good evening and welcome to it. It is ZiFM Sport on a Wednesday evening. It is a wacky Wednesday. And on the home front, you can look forward to Rhinos climbing to the top of the Domestic T20 table with a 4-wicket victory over the Tuskers as franchises continue their tussle for the last trophy of the cricket season. And in our international sports news we wrap up the 5-match one-day international series between India and Australia. And in the beautiful game, Atletico Madrid were once again put to the sword by a Cristiano Ronaldo-led team as his hat-trick led Juventus into the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League. In the studio to deliver the show to you are Mike Madoda, Mark Pozzo, Alois Bunjira, our producer Sean Tafirenyika. I'm Barry Manandi, and don't forget, a big feature of this show every single time we are on air is the Profeeds Daily Sports Trivia, because it's your opportunity to be our monthly winner. How do you do that? You have to be our daily winner and send through your hashtag Profeeds Trivia. You might be that one lucky listener that we call back. But the show gets off to a flyer every single day with a power play.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Right, we start on the local front at Old Hararian Sports Club, where a fighting 7th wicket partnership by Tendai Chisora and Neville Madziva took Rhinos to a thrilling 4-wicket victory over Tuskers in their domestic win in as many matches in the T20 competition. The two combined well to pull their team over the line as they came together with 45 runs that were needed in 5 overs in a match between the two winning teams of the first day. The Rhinos win lifted them to the top of the T20 table and in a good position to book their spot in Saturday's final. So Tuskers batting first, 180 for 9 in their 20 overs. Craig Irvin continues his good run of form at 96. Tendai Maruma 25, Chris Impor for 14, Solomon Miri 2 for 28, Kyle Jarvis 1 for 27, Neville Madziva 1 for 28. Rhinos 183 for 6 in 18.5 overs. Prince Masavere 48, PJ Moore 30, Tendai Chisoro 28 not out. It was a crucial 28 not out. Johnny Nyumbo 2 for 27, Chris Impor for 1 for 21, and Thabo Mboya 1 for 44. So Rhinos winning that by 4 wickets.
Indeed, and Mountaineers thumped Eagles by 6 wickets in a domestic T20 cricket competition match at Old Hararians Sports Club. It was Eagles' second defeat in the tournament that started on Monday, denting their hopes of making it to the final. Mountaineers, who won the toss and elected to field first before restricting Eagles to 82 all out in 16.3 overs. In reply, Mountaineers were inspired by Innocent Kaia's 41 to reach their target in 12.4 overs, losing 4 wickets along the way. That means the T20 table looks like this. Having played 2 matches, Rhinos sit atop the table with amassed 8 points from those 2 games. Mountaineers in second with 5 points from their 2 games. Tuskers have played 3 games but have only amassed 4 points, as has Eagles, who are at the foot of the table with just 4 points. The top 2 teams play in the final on Sunday after the conclusion of the round robin phase concludes on Saturday. And just looking at some of the scores, and possibly let's start with that match that you spoke about, start. Pause the Tuskers versus Rhinos. Craig Irvin amongst the runs in a creditable 96, but in a losing cause. Good show.
In a losing cause, but it certainly gives the national team some consolation that Irvin is in really good form at the moment. He was in great touch in the Pro 50 tournament, and he's carried that on through now to this T20 competition. But obviously Rhinos looking good on 8 points at the top of the table, yet to lose a game. I think we should be seeing, I would say, looking at the scores, the table, I would say Rhinos, Mountaineers, the top 1-2 will fight it out in Sunday's final.
It should be quite a final, shouldn't it, Mike?
Yeah, it will be quite a final. But out of love for this tournament, Barry, the entire tournament to have been possibly based at one venue.
Okay,
made something of an event of it. They've tried to spread it out, and as a result, it's almost like it's had a club cricket feel to it. It hasn't had the excitement and the intensity, nor the fan patronage that you associate with T20 cricket. So for me, they should have been doing double headers. Even if it would have meant doing double headers over the course of an entire or maybe a fortnight, but it would have meant that would have got more fans and would have made a festive occasion of it. It would have been able to nip in there regularly if it was being played at one venue, because you'd have known that you're going to get at least two matches, two crackerjack matches, one probably played between 9 and 12, and the other one starting at 1 o'clock or something like that. I think it would have made for more fans to actually attend the affair.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what they have been doing. They've been having these games.
Spread.
It's been spread only in two venues. Tomorrow they go to Harare Sports Club, but also you got to look at the wicket.
Yeah.
2 weeks. Be playing, but over 2 weeks, I think 2 weeks is too long.
But also, just looking at because I drove.
They've been playing in front of 7 people.
I drove past older areas and.
Could you count the people?
Yeah, easily on one hand, on one hand.
7,
and that's excluding those.
That's including the umpires.
And Dean Duplessis.
So I think, look, to be fair, there's more we can do to make it a bit more of a spectacle. And I think what we've done is that if we go back, and not to be an old fuddy-duddy and go back in the old days, but I think we were on the right track when we did that whole Stanbic T20, where we invite the international stars. If we want to go back to that, we need to create something that's got a buzz about it. That can then bring in numbers,
Hi, my name's Ryan Cairns, Sunshine Tour professional golfer, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Remember to keep your hashtags coming in, as well as your thoughts and your views on 0731 168 045, 0731 168 045. Follow and interact with @ZFM Sport. Let's give you the rest of your local sports news roundup, starting with golf. Top professional golfer Scott Vincent will be the only Zimbabwean at this year's European Tour's Magical Kenya Open, presented by ABSA, which tees off tomorrow at Karen Country Club in Nairobi. The European Tour visits East Africa for the first edition of the tournament, which used to be under the Challenge Tour. The Magical Kenya Open tournament is making its debut on the 2019 Race to Dubai qualifiers, where Vincent is on position 84. The 27-year-old Vincent, who attended Virginia Tech in the United States before turning professional in the year 2015, has played a mixture of Canadian and Asian tour tournaments in the last 2 years. Over to tennis. 9 Zimbabwean players have qualified for the second round of the International Tennis Federation Under-18 tournament being held at Bulawayo Country Club. Emma Kandeni Tennis Club's 15-year-old wonder kid Zimani Moyo proceeded to the second round after beating Italian Luca Di Ostiani 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. Zimbabwe's top-seeded player Thabo Ncube set a date with Silas Charama from Botswana after thumping Willem Wimpy from South Africa 7-5, 6-love. And we wrap it up with netball news, where the Zimbabwe Netball Association will host a golf day at Royal Harare on Friday as part of their fundraising activities ahead of their participation at the Netball World Cup in July. Zena marketing partner Franken Mutare say they wanted to raise $50,000 on the day. Zimbabwe are among 16 countries who will be in Liverpool, England from July 12 to 21 for the 2019 Netball World Cup. The Gems will face Australia, Northern Ireland and Sri Lanka in Group A at the World Cup.
Qualcomm, the home of great food, celebrates its 75th birthday. As a thank you to all our customers, we have amazing price cuts on all your favorite products. Enjoy unbelievably reduced prices on our frozen boerewors, breakfast and ready-to-eat sausages. Celebrate 75 years of wholesome and tasty goodness. Available at all leading retail stores and Qualcomm shops nationwide. Qualcomm, 75 years of greatness.
You can now do your banking on WhatsApp. Stewart Bank. Pay your bills, buy your airtime, zip it, SIM switch, EcoCash, pa WhatsApp, ipapo. Banking and social, same WhatsApp group. Stewart Bank. Everyday banking for everyday people.
House of Tiles is celebrating its 25th anniversary, and we are slashing prices by up to 20% on all our ceramic tiles, porcelain tiles, and our laminate flooring. Yes, you heard right, 20%. Visit us at 5 Samora Michelle Avenue and our state-of-the-art showroom and fully stocked warehouse at 80 Simon Mazoredze Road. Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Don't miss out on this crazy offer. Hurry while stocks last.
Here we go again.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZiFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZiFM Stereo and you got it.
From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
In cricket news, Australia claimed a memorable 3-2 series victory against India after Usman Khawaja's century and Adam Zampa's 3 for 46 spurred the tourists to a 35-run win in the fifth and final one-day international in Delhi. Australia won the toss and elected to bat, and Khawaja's 152 third-wicket partnership with Pete Hanscom laid the foundation for Australia's respectable innings total of 272 for 9. Australia's bowlers then restricted India to 237 by taking wickets at regular intervals as India failed to build any meaningful partnerships in their run chase. Let's hear from Australia's batsman Pete Hanscom.
Yeah, it means a lot to come over and win a series in India. We know how tough it is for any country to come over and do it. So to do it now in preparation for the World Cup really gives us a lot of confidence going forward and understanding our game plan. Yeah, something special, and to go with our record chase the other day as well. So the squad's doing something right. The boys are gelling beautifully. We're having a lot of fun, and it's just great to have come over here, come back from 2-0 down to win this series. We're very, very happy.
Tail of the tape, Australia batting first, 272 for the loss of 9 wickets. Khawaja with that 100 and Hanscom with 52. As we said earlier, it was a partnership of 152. Bhuvaneshwar taking 3 for 48 and then restricting India to just 237 all out and winning that match. And indeed, the series there, a lot better than anybody thought, Michael.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's pleasing for Australia, pleasing for Australian cricket fans because a lot of people didn't give them a chance whatsoever on this tour of India. Australia has been the laughing stock of world cricket over the last 12 months or so, but they've worked their way back, especially in the shortened version of the game, especially with every nation right now focusing on the World Cup in England and Wales. Australia have got about their business quietly, whilst the rest of the world has looked on, mocked and laughed. They've been working on their team, and they finally come up with a team that can go onto the subcontinent and beat a very good team, a very good one-day international team with some of the most explosive batsmen in world cricket. Yeah. They have been restricted by Australia in this game here, to be honest. Australia leaving a lot of runs on the board. Australia could have made 350, 360 if you take a look at the start that they had and that solid foundation built by Khawaja and Hanscom. But then after Glenn Maxwell went cheaply for one, they then lost a clutch of wickets, and then they needed some big hitting towards the end to get them to that respectable 279. And then for the bowlers to restrict a team with the batsmen that India has for just 237 on the subcontinent. It's a feat that has to be marveled
on their wicket, and I think it's going to send a bit of shockwaves throughout the cricketing world, Paz, on the basis that the names you rattle off, Khawaja had a fantastic series, Hanscom, good series, this is with the bat, Glenn Maxwell, fantastic series apart from his one today, and you look at that and consider Steve Smith, David Warner still to come back. It's scary.
No, it is very scary, and look, you've got to give. I certainly wrote them off. I mean, India have got to be one of the favourites to win the Cricket World Cup in England this year, and I certainly believe this is probably a big wake-up call for Ravi Shastri's side. You know what, I think they thought they were going to roll them over in the T20 series quite easily, and they got done there, and they thought the same in the one-day series. So credit to Australia, and for me now it just makes this World Cup all that much more interesting, especially as Warner and Smith are still to come back.
Mikey, let's talk Khawaja. Pundits are talking about his performance in this series is pressing his case for inclusion in the World Cup squad.
No, he's a shoo-in.
He's a shoo-in.
No, this series definitely his name is on the
for me is the man of the series. 2 centuries in the 5 matches played, and I think he's got a couple of half centuries as well, and another decent knock. So he has been good for Australia, absolutely fantastic, and there will now be questions, and it's a good headache the Australian selectors will have now. I think Finch, the current captain, is the most vulnerable at the top of the order, because you suspect that David Warner will come back and slot in as one of the openers once he's eligible to play at the end of the month. He's already being reintegrated into the team, and will of course be I think on the next tour. I think they're going to be playing Pakistan in the UAE. He's in that tour together with Steve Smith. You suspect Steve Smith will come in and play at number 4 for Australia. So those two are locked. Usman Khawaja, he's performed as the opening batsman. So you suspect that he's going to keep his place on the back of him performing. And then Peter Hanscom has performed as well. So you suspect he's going to keep his place as number 3. So the guy who's vulnerable right now is the current captain, Aaron Finch. I suspect he may well get the boot. And then Glenn Maxwell, I think, will come in at number 5. I also suspect that Turner, with his finishing ability, which he has shown, I think it's a toss-up between him and Stoinis as to who gets that role at number 6 or number 7. Stoinis, of course, with the added advantage is that he's a bowler, and so he brings a lot more variety, brings a lot more to the team than Turner, who's just, of course, a hitter at the end.
I think Aaron Finch, despite not having the best of series, I think he'll be going to the World Cup. I think his experience will certainly be required in England for the World Cup, and he'll be there. But just to confirm that Khawaja was named man of the match, obviously for his 100, and he was named man of the series.
But Finch will go to the World Cup, no doubt, because it's a squad game. But does he start?
I think he'll start.
In whose place?
I think they'll do a little bit of shuffling. He'll probably open. I think they'll probably open with maybe. I think Khawaja should bat at 3.
And Hanscom?
Look,
and considering the performance that Hanscom has had,
because if Khawaja wasn't the man of the series, Hanscom was going to be the man of the series. So what do you do about that?
Yeah, look, it's a nice problem.
Nice problem to have.
And Finch has not had a decent performance in 12 months.
Absolutely.
So I believe that when you go to a tournament like the World Cup, pick your form players. It's a 6-week tournament. You don't have time to be sentimental. You're trying to win a trophy. You don't have time to say, we hope he rediscovers his form at the World Cup.
And Australia has been known to make tough decisions when they need to make them, and chances are they'll make this one. Bunj, you want to weigh in on this?
I was just agreeing with Mike that, you know what, when you're going to the World Cup, you don't have to say, last year he was really good. You just need to pick the best players that are going to go and do a job for you for those few weeks that you're at the World Cup. So I do agree with Mike 100%.
Form and function, baby. That's what it's all about.
Hi, this is Benjamin Locke. I'm on the Zimbabwe Davis Cup team, and you're listening to ZiFM Sport.
Around the world in 60 seconds, international sports news.
Right, we take off in California, where Rafael Nadal sent a warning to his rivals as he produced a clinical display of 6-3, 6-1 against Diego Schwartzman to reach the fourth round of the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells. World number one Djokovic was knocked out in the third round by Philip Kohlschreiber, 6-4, 6-4. On the ladies' side, world number one Naomi Osaka's defense of her Indian Wells title was ended in round 4 by Belinda Bencic, losing 6-3, 6-1. World number 2 Simona Halep is also out after she lost 6-2, 3-6, 6-2 to Czech teenager Marketa Vondrousova. To Florida, where Justin Rose will attempt to use last week's failure as motivation for the Players' Championship. The Englishman lost his world number one ranking following a disastrous final 2 rounds at Bay Hill, where he signed off rounds of 75 and 77, dropping 8 shots to slide down to a disappointing tied for 63rd place. As a result, he surrendered the top mantle of world golf to the miracle Dustin Johnson. To London, and the world's top rugby administrators will meet this week to discuss World Rugby's proposed Nations Championship, when news broke last week of plans for the league-based tournament that would revolutionise Test rugby. It was met with strong criticism from current and former players, as well as administrators from some of the game's smaller nations. Since then, World Rugby has sought to end any confusion by saying it would be flexible and open to discussion before making any concrete decisions on the tournament. That's your Sport in 60.
ZiFM stereo is untouchable.
The Daily Sports Trivia question is brought to you by Profeeds. Profeeds, your feed and farm professionals.
We have a caller on the line, and they'll be fielding 2 questions, one local, one international. What did they do to deserve that? Well, they sent us a hashtag, ProFeedsTrivia, and they went in the hat. They were luckily chosen, and now they stand on the cusp of having a chance to be in with a chance of winning a 4-plate Capri gas stove when we have our second draw of the year on Friday, the 29th of March. It's over to you, Barry Manani.
It is indeed, and it's a very good evening to Stan. Stan out in Buhera. How's Buhera this evening, mate?
It's becoming cool, but it was very hot during the day.
Hey, Stan, you got a voice for radio, my bro. Hey, I was like, whoa, listen to that voice, bruh. What team do you support, bruh?
Sorry?
What team do you support?
Oh, it's obvious. The Reds.
The Reds, yes, sir.
Deliver.
Can we do it tonight, buddy?
I think so. I've got hope. Since we didn't concede at home.
They're well done.
And taking into cognizance the fact that Bayern is not performing that much this current season. So I hope we can score a goal and try to defend.
Stan, you are the man. Now you need to answer 2 questions for us, and you could be the daily winner. Are you ready, Stan?
Yeah, I'm ready, sir.
All right, sir. What is the name of the only Zimbabwean golfer who will be taking part at the magical Kenya Open beginning tomorrow? I hope you've been listening to the show.
Oh, goodness me. I but I was listening, but I didn't write it down. But I heard the name, but it kind of slipped me.
Can we give you a clue?
Yes.
Yeah,
okay, I'm gonna give you 3 names, and then you can select from those 3 names.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Is it Benjamin Follett Smith? Is it Nick Price or Mark McNulty or Scott Vincent?
Can you repeat the names again?
Benjamin Follett Smith.
Yeah.
Mark McNulty.
Yeah.
Nick Price or Scott Vincent?
I think it's Scott Vincent.
Yeah! Stan, I like your work, buddy. All right, number 2. Who is the women's world number 1 in tennis? You got to know this one.
Is it Serena?
Try again. She's a sweet young girl. Very sweet. Her surname is the name of a city.
Which nationality?
She's Japanese. But we disputed here.
That one what?
She's Japanese.
That one who knocked the Serena in the Chinese Open sometime there. But I forgot. I forgot the name.
Okay.
but I know she beat Selena.
You have to get the surname correct. We'll give you the first name. The first name is Naomi.
Naomi.
Come on.
Naomi. And her name is a Japanese city, dude.
Naomi, it's a Japanese city.
Okay, maybe give you choices again.
Yes.
Okay. Is it?
If you give me choices, because I kind of familiar with the Japanese city.
Okay, is it Kawasaki? Is it Nagasaki or Osaka?
Osaka.
Stan. Get off the phone. We don't want to talk to you anymore. Good luck at the end of the month, my man.
I will. And also, I'm split the day. Although I'm 100% Liverpool fan. In Germany, I go with Bayern Munich.
Oh, shit.
Don't be conflicted tonight. Support the only red team that
But tonight, I'm going with Liverpool.
Good man. All right, cheers, Stan. Thanks for playing.
Good man. Catch us again tomorrow. The product range at ProFeeds poultry feed is renowned in the market, both broilers and layers. That include a horse feed, cattle feed, beef and dairy, pig feed, goat, rabbit, duck, fish and dog feed. In addition, we sell day-old chicks, point-of-lay hens, fingerlings, seed and fertilizer, equipment and agricultural supplies.
The Daily Sports Trivia question was brought to you by ProFeeds. ProFeeds, the performance feed.
It's the Rumble in the Jungle as the Warriors of Zimbabwe take on the Red Devils of Congo in the Africa Cup Nations Qualifier. Yes, it's going down on the 24th of March 2019 live at the National Sports Stadium. Who will survive the Inferno and stand out victorious? You don't want to miss this. So get your tickets now at www.clickandpay.africa. You can also purchase using EcoCash, Telecash, MasterCard, Visa, or ZimSwitch. All tickets to be bought in advance. That means no tickets at the gate. Tickets are going for $10 rest of the ground, $50 bay 15 to 18, and $200 for VIP. Entertainment from local and international artists. Gates will close at 1:30 p.m. and the match starts at 3 p.m. You've got to be there.
On the 15th of March 2019, ZiFM Stereo celebrates International Women's Day with a banquet at Nichols Hotel. The banquet is running under the theme #Balance for Better, and the dress code is ball gown. Please join us as we hear from our keynote speakers, Clara Mlambo and Dr. Hespina Rukato, among others. For bookings, contact Leah on 0777 142 777. Lois 0774 329 315. Lucy 0776 393 731. Don't miss this chance to mix, mingle, and enjoy. The event starts at 6 p.m. till late. See you there. To all you Twitter heads, connect with ZiFM Stereo on twitter.com/ZiFM Stereo /ZiFM Stereo.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport.
There is only one story, and it's the story of the man dubbed CR7C, Cristiano Ronaldo, and he has suggested Juve brought him to the club to help do things they have never done before after his hat-trick heroic set them to the Champions League last 8. Ronaldo's treble brought Juventus back from a 2-0 aggregate deficit against Atletico Madrid last night in Turin, going through 3-2. Five-time Champions League winner Ronaldo has now scored 8 hat-tricks in the competition, the joint most in the competition, alongside erstwhile rival Lionel Messi. Now, Juve boss Massimiliano Allegri says he felt CR7 would add to his tally in the Champions League against Atletico.
It seemed very strange to me that Cristiano Ronaldo would finish the Champions League scoring only one goal. This evening, he has had a great match. The squad has done very well building the game. It was an amazing match with the marvellous support from the fans, and the players gave a beautiful evening of good football to all the passionate people in Italy.
Oh, guys, Cristiano Ronaldo yesterday, that hat-trick. We talked about it, Alois, in the studio in the build-up to the game that Juventus needed to execute a flawless game plan. And that is exactly what we witnessed from the old lady yesterday. From kickoff until the very final whistle, Juventus played a perfect game.
Yeah, they were very calm. You could actually tell that, they were not hurrying, they were not panicking. Somehow it felt like they knew what exactly they wanted to do. And the good thing about it, they got that early goal that they really wanted. Once they scored that goal, they knew that Atletico Madrid would start panicking, would start defending, and that played into their hands as well. And I also thought that Juventus as a team, they were perfect. They were perfect. We spoke about it in the studio that they need to have a game plan that is watertight. And oh my God, that is exactly what they did and executed very well.
And it's not the first time, is it? We also talked about the fact that we had witnessed something similar versus Real Madrid, where they were able to score 3 goals in regulation time and then that cruel penalty. This time, you've got to say that they were lucky.
They were lucky
because VAR did them a favor in injury time.
Yes.
That looked like a Stonewall penalty by Chiellini, but I thought that when you take into consideration, to be honest, that the attacker was not going to get to the ball and so forth. I thought the referee made the right decision. But if they'd stuck rigidly to the rules like we have seen with VAR, that could have been given. So on nights like this, you need a bit of luck, and Juventus had that luck.
You do need a bit of luck, but also I think Atletico Madrid will be kicking themselves because they'll always think what if, because you could see that as soon as Ronaldo tucked that penalty away, they came out of the block. They now wanted to play. They were trying to get into the Juventus box. It was too little, too late. And getting into the box caused them to have that penalty shout, in inverted commas. Had they done that throughout the game, possibly they could have got the one goal that might have sent them through.
That's exactly what they needed to do. They only needed to come and search for that one goal because it was always going to be difficult for Juve to score 4. That's all they needed to do, but they also played a very, very conservative game. I don't know why.
Very conservative. Now, I don't claim to be a wise man, but I had one of my epiphanies last night, and I tweeted that tonight was another triumph of positive intent and attacking football. Perhaps the likes of Diego Simeone and Jose Mourinho might have to rethink their philosophies. Mark, your thoughts on that? Because, that negativity that we saw from Diego Simeone, surely had he had a more positive approach to the game, like we saw when they were now chasing it in the last 5 minutes of the game, it could have been a different result.
Yeah, it could have been a hugely different result. I mean, I certainly never saw this coming, and I certainly got it wrong. I've got it wrong 2 weeks running now. I mean, I just really never thought that Juve could turn this tie around. I mean, I just thought that Atletico had a game plan, as Bunch said, just to go and get that one goal, and then, then sit back, let Juve attack as much as they want, because remember, they got to score 4.
Yeah.
And it would always make it difficult, and I think that would have changed the whole complexity of the game. But yeah, I think he got it wrong, and he's going to pay the price now because they are no longer in the Champions League.
Let's take a look at some of the comments that are coming through regards that. Tinashe Mushata, you say negative soccer no longer yields results. For the past 20 years, only 2 teams I can recall winning the Champions League by playing negative soccer. That's Inter Milan in 2010 and Chelsea in 2012. Football has evolved. I just think Simeone has reached his peak at Atletico Madrid and it's time for him to move on. Farai Alpha Francisco says, thank you. Those negative-minded coaches must adapt or else they'll be found wanting on the biggest stages of football. More messages coming in. Samanyika Ahmed Alessio, that is your Twitter handle. You say these guys have to revise their tactics, otherwise they have no place in modern football. One man who won't have to revise his tactics, one man who will be fine-tuning his tactics heading into the quarterfinals is Max Allegri, because we can talk about Ronaldo. He was outstanding. He scored a hat-trick. You can't take that away from him. You can talk about Benedeschi. I thought he was
fantastic.
What a revelation. What a performance. But you've got to commend the coach because tactically, Juventus were superior and they were near perfect.
They were, and you could see that he knew exactly what was coming. And that's the danger of those negative coaches, because you know what's coming. And what he did was he shifted their defensive block very quickly. What he did in the attacking third, he moved that ball very quickly, so they had to break ranks. And when they broke ranks, he picked those holes behind them, which then assisted to get those crosses wide, the crossover, and they knew that CR7 is imperious in the air. 2 headers and a penalty. Done.
Pardon says Chiba Best, Cristiano Ronaldo, and says, I totally agree. Those coaches should change that style of play. It's no longer efficient. Last night was a very good lesson. So people, we've seen Mourinho struggling. In England, he tried to come and have that set up at Manchester United with attacking players, with the talent of Martial, Pogba, Lingard, Rashford, Alexis Sanchez, Lukaku. It didn't work for him. Diego Simeone right now has been unable to win that Champions League. He's getting to a certain level, but at that level, he seems to lose to more attacking teams, teams with an attacking mindset. So it looks like those tactics, we've now moved past that park the bus era into an era where now the best attacking teams will win games.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you need to score goals. Once you don't score goals, one day you're going to get caught. Now teams know how to play against them. Like I was talking off air a few minutes ago, that they knew that these guys were going to be defending all the time, but what they were going to let them do was to let them go wide. So they said, okay, they are going to let us go wide. We are going to go wide and put in the crosses. Who do we have? We've got Cristiano Ronaldo. He is going to out-jump them. So just put in the cross. Even Diabala, he was playing on the right. Did you see how many crosses he was just dribbling and cutting the ball inside into the box. So they knew that, okay, fine, they will let us go out wide, and they were beaten because of that very tactic that they were using. It's outdated. Teams need to start playing and play to score goals so that you can win matches. They could have gotten 1 goal if they had attacked.
Your messages are coming through on 0731-168-045. This one says, I'm a Lionel Messi fan, but I have to admit, when it comes to decisive matches in the UEFA Champions League, Cristiano rules. What a beast. This one says, CR7 in the Champions League is a different animal. DJ Bongs in Isley says, CR7, hail the king of football. This one says, Real Madrid bought Ronaldo for 94 million euro, had him in his prime for nine years, sold him for 100 million euro, and still made a loss. So your messages keep coming in about the match played yesterday.
Right, there was another game last night, and it was a goal feast where Bernardo Silva insists his Manchester City teammates are motivated by Pep Guardiola's claims they are not ready to win the Champions League. City made an emphatic statement of intent in the last 16, demolishing Bundesliga strugglers Schalke 7-0 at the Etihad Stadium to wrap up a 10-2 aggregate triumph, the second biggest knockout stage win in the history of the competition. Guardiola was fulsome in his praise of City's efforts afterwards, but returned to a familiar theme of marveling at the Champions League pedigree of others, most notably Juventus, after Cristiano Ronaldo's hat-trick heroics, which ransacked Atletico Madrid. Let's hear from Pep.
I would have liked, to be more in the first 20 minutes, more who we are, but I understand the situation. Sometimes you cannot expect in 90 minutes to play like we play with 4 or 5-0. I understand completely. But we were solid, we didn't concede chances, and I think the last 50 minutes, the first half, and the second half, we were incredibly good and playing and quick, and the dynamic, the transitions, and we scored goals. It's 7 goals. I know that Schalke is a tough period because they lost the last games. The confidence must not be on top. But even with that situation, you have to do your job, and we did it. So last week, we saw what happened with the good results in the second leg. And we were serious, and we did it, and incredible, happy, to be again and fighting in the draw, sitting there, see the draw, and being in quarterfinals.
So the Premier League champions found themselves 2-1 behind during the first leg. and then they were down to 10 men after Otamendi's red card. At that time, Guardiola stated that his team landing in that predicament showed they were not ready to lift Europe's most coveted club trophy. Mike, do you think he's just playing it all down?
No, I think he's got a point. And the point was not necessarily in relation to Schalke. It's in relation to the bigger games that are going to come. They can't afford to get in a similar situation versus a Barcelona, versus a Juventus, versus a Bayern Munich, versus better opposition. You can't go 10 down and a goal down. They will absolutely hammer you. They will take advantage of that. If you remember one of the Champions League triumphs that Real Madrid had versus Bayern Munich, when Bayern Munich was the best team in Europe. If you remember, I think it was Arturo Vidal who was sent off controversially. Bayern Munich went down to 10 men. Real Madrid then took full advantage of that missing player in the second half to win in Munich, and then they drew in Madrid. So, big teams are separated just by little details. And so I think Guardiola is saying the right things to his teams to say, okay, you can afford to make these mistakes now against Schalke. But if we get Juventus in the next round, you can't afford to go a man down. You can't afford to go a goal down. You've got to make sure that you stay disciplined. We stay as 11 on the field, because to beat a good team, you've got to play your best game.
And that's where the Champions League pedigree comes in, because with those teams with pedigree, if you operate in the manner that they did against Schalke, you're out of the competition. You're done.
Zimbabwe's finest radio. ZiFM Stereo.
Alois, you wanted to chip in there on Pep Guardiola's sentiments?
No, I was saying that he doesn't really mean that they are not good enough. He's actually giving a message to his players that you are not good enough if you are going to be playing like that against a bigger team. So I agree with you 100%. So I just wanted to agree with. That's exactly what it's a message to his players, not a message to the whole world that we are not good enough.
Absolutely. Now their matches tonight. It's Bayern Munich taking on Liverpool. The score line delicately at 0-0. Barcelona entertain Lyon at the Camp Nou. Again, the score at 0-0. So these are two cup finals in inverted commas. Jurgen Klopp says Liverpool must be brave to overcome world-class Bayern Munich in the Champions League. Bayern host Liverpool in the second leg, with the contest delicately poised after the goalless first leg at Anfield a fortnight ago. Both teams have won the competition on 5 occasions, and Klopp believes the finer details could settle the tie between two of Europe's footballing superpowers. Let's hear from Klopp.
I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's a challenge. That's exactly what you need. You need a rhythm. You need the right things to do in a specific moment. So Bayern is a world-class football team. So that's what everybody knows. World-class players, and that sounds easy, but you have to defend them on absolutely highest level, on our highest level. And that's how I know from my experience in Bayern that the big difference makes then when you have the ball, you have to be really confident, because that's difficult against world-class teams. It happens from time to time that you don't have then the balls to play your really brave, or your best football. That's how it is, and that's what we have to show tomorrow night. There will be moments when we can dominate. There will be moments, probably more, when Bayern is dominating. But in both moments you can use the situation. That's what we try. But the balance is it's all about. Yeah, it's true.
Well, Jurgen Klopp had a lot to say, because there's been plenty of speculation about how Liverpool can manage the rigors of a Premier League title tilt and also chase the Champions League. Klopp insists the clash with Bayern is one of a number of huge games facing his side in coming weeks, suggesting getting past the Bavarian giants could have a transformative effect on Liverpool's season. Michael, discuss.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, to be honest, at this stage, it's neither here nor there that you're playing an extra game in midweek. These teams have been here before. They've done it before. It's nothing new. This talk of from pundits that, it'll be better off for Liverpool to be knocked out of the Champions League to concentrate on the league. No. You might do that and still win nothing in the league.
Correct.
So you go for what you have in front of you. And right now, the task facing Liverpool is a very good Bayern Munich side. This is a different Bayern Munich from the side that we saw in the first half of the season.
Yes, absolutely.
This Bayern Munich side seems like it's got over the worst. They're playing a bit. They're rediscovering their free scoring style in Germany. And so it'll be a very difficult night for Liverpool. But like Jurgen Klopp said, it'll take a brave approach from Liverpool today. Liverpool have to play almost like Juventus. I think a near perfect game. The boost for Liverpool is that they've got Virgil van Dijk back in the heart of defence.
Does Liverpool, in your view, Bunch, have that perfect game in them?
I don't know. I don't know. The good thing about it is that they've got Van Dijk back, and they didn't concede at home. So that's a big advantage for them. If they
it's 90 minutes of football.
Yeah, 90 minutes of football.
That's it.
Yes, if 90 minutes of football, if they score, they've got a big advantage against Bayern Munich. What I don't understand are people that are saying that Liverpool can get knocked out and concentrate on the league so that they can win the league to come back into the Champions League again. When they are actually facing a situation whereby they can actually go into the last 8 and actually go on to win the Champions League. Yes. That's all they want. You want to get into the Champions League so that you can come in there and win the league and win the Champions League. So they are already in there. So why should they let it go? They should actually go for it. There are not many games anymore that they are going to be playing. So I don't think it's all about the pressure right now. They just need to go for it and win, and they have got a perfect chance.
And also confidence. Confidence. You beat Bayern Munich. You compete with Bayern Munich. When you face your Tottenhams, when you face teams like that, you go in there with your head held high, saying, you know what, if we could beat Bayern Munich in Germany, we can beat these teams. So for me, I tend to look at the value of these games in terms of the mental side, because all these players, this is the level they judge themselves at. Against the best players and against the best teams. So if Liverpool does well tonight, they can be very confident going into the business end of the season.
And then remember, there are also Ajax and Porto that have already qualified, and that
Manchester
can be beaten.
United.
And Manchester United, yes, that can be beaten. Yeah, now it's a chance that if they cross this bridge, they might even get an easier team to play against better than Bayern Munich, which is easier than Bayern Munich. So why not go for it instead of crying to go out?
And even the likes of even Juventus has shown that they can be beaten because Atletico won 2-0 in the first leg. So it's an open Champions League.
It is
very open.
Barcelona weren't convincing in the first leg, and so a lot of people will be looking at Barcelona and say, let's see what performance.
Yeah, they're not confident tonight. They're not confident
that they can put on tonight.
Okay, gentlemen, time for predictions. Pause. You lead the way, sir.
Liverpool to win 1-0 on the night.
Okay.
Bayern Munich to win 2-1 on the night.
Mikey?
Bayern Munich 3-1. I reckon Bayern Munich 3-1.
Shucks.
It's just
you've knocked the wind out of me.
That's what I think.
You dreamed about.
Yeah, I didn't dream about it. I think 3-1. I think so. I just have a gut feeling that
because they've discovered their goal scoring touch. For me,
if they score first as well,
I reckon it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
Okay.
1-1 draw.
Wow.
That's
then
Liverpool
my story.
Goes through. That is my story. Yeah.
Then of course the other game, of course, so we'll see Barcelona playing Lyon. Barcelona, of course, at the new camp, and that's never going to be easy for any team that's visiting there. So Barcelona have won 26 of their 29 home games in the Champions League, drawing 3. And of course, while Lyon have lost 7 of their last 9 Champions League knockout games away from home. So the form favors Barcelona, but they'll still have to play very well to beat Lyon.
Lionel Messi always responds. He always responds when it's time. He always responds to Cristiano Ronaldo. We have seen that happening, and I'm afraid that this Lyon team is going to be slaughtered. So I don't know.
So again, like last night, if you want to watch goals, watch Barcelona. If you want to watch a special European night, if you want to watch a special European night, watch the Liverpool game. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.
Be sure to catch ZiFM Sport every weekday on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.